Namo Phat, good morning. Thank you for joining me for our daily practice check-in. Listen, listen, listen. This beautiful sound calls us back to our true home. The second mindfulness training. Aware of the suffering caused by exploitation, social injustice, stealing, and oppression, I vow to cultivate loving kindness and learn ways to work for the well-being of people, animals, plants, and minerals. I will practice generosity by sharing my time, energy, and material resources with those who are in real need. I'm determined not to steal and not to possess anything that should belong to others. I will respect the property of others, but I will prevent others from profiting from human suffering or the suffering of other species on earth. For our Dharma reading today, we'll read the first half of You're a Warrior, Aren't You? By Ajahn Karuna Dhammo, from Beginning Our Day by the monastics of Abhayagiri Monastery. Last night we had a discussion about the power of practicing in community. One of the things I remember fondly about an experience in community was during my third rains retreat away at Chithurst Monastery in England. When I first arrived, I was trying to get my bearings and slowly familiarizing myself with some of the community members. One of the monks, who was just junior to me, sat on my left, and I noticed after a number of weeks he wasn't engaging or making any contact. He was very quiet and reserved. I didn't know what to make of it. It was several weeks later that I began to think, well, perhaps he just doesn't like me, or maybe I said something in the beginning that disturbed him. At one point only, he and I were in the day room resting after the meal. He had yet to say anything to me the entire time since I had arrived. I was sitting on one side of the room and he was sitting on the other, and he broke into conversation saying, "You're a warrior." I thought, what? What does he mean? So I said to him, "What?" He replied, "You're a warrior, aren't you?" I thought to myself, well, I've never thought of myself as a warrior, so I asked him, "What do you mean? Why do you say that I'm a warrior?" He replied back to me, "Well, I know, because I'm a warrior, too." I thought, what's going on in this guy's mind? Again I said, "What do you mean?" He responded, "Well, I can see that you worry a lot, and I know that because I worry a lot, too." I thought, oh, okay, now this makes sense. I'd forgotten for a moment that I was in England and things like worry are pronounced a bit differently. The monk went on to explain that he had been suspicious of me for the first few weeks because I was an American, and he had many different preconceptions of what Americans were like and did not want to get too close or engage. As it turned out, we became good friends over the year and appreciated each other's company. Last night here at the monastery, we were talking about how living in community, the effect people have on us, and how, particularly as Westerners, we have a strong individual self-identity and therefore construct so much dukkha around that identity. With this individualism in our culture, we don't have a lot of experience living in community, nor do we understand the benefits of living with and learning from other people in this way. Ajahn Chah's training heavily emphasized the power of living in community. It can be difficult to live this way because we all come from diverse backgrounds and have our different habits and ways of being in the world. But this kind of interaction, living and working with other people 24 hours a day, is a powerful practice. May all beings be well, May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you for joining me this morning.